Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this meeting of the Employment Committee. I'm Councillor Stuart Brown, Chair of the committee. I would like to draw your attention to the following housekeeping and safety information. If the continuous fire alarm sounds, please evacuate the room and public gallery by the stairwells. Do not attempt to use the lifts. Please assemble in front of Queen Victoria's statue in Guildhall Square. In order to comply with the Guildhall Trust's fire marshal regulations, anyone who signed in at the Guildhall reception desk should sign out when leaving the building at the end of today's meeting. This meeting will be live streamed. Please note that the camera zooms in to show the speaker. This is linked to the microphones, therefore can I please remind all attendees to turn their microphones on to speak and then off again once you have finished speaking. Members of the public are permitted to record the meeting on the understanding that it neither disrupts the meeting nor records those stating explicitly that they do not wish to be recorded. Please be advised that the public seating area is not in view of the camera used to webcast this meeting. So let's start with some introductions, and I'll start on my right, please.
For a change. I'm Darren Sanders. I'm one of the Liberal Democrat representatives on the committee. Thank you.
Councillor Simon Bosher, I'm a Conservative.
Dave Ashmore, Liberal Democrat.
Charlotte Gerarda, Labour.
Cal Corkery, Independent.
Natasha Edmonds, Director of Corporate Services.
Karen Martin, Democratic Services.
Thank you all very much. Members, can I ask if there are any declarations of members' interests? Councillor Gerarda.
I am a member of Unite the Union and GMB, Trade Union.
Thank you. I would ask for apologies for absence, but as we'll all hear, it seems kind of redundant. Oh, Councillor Corkery, yes.
Sorry, yeah. Just declaration of interest. I'm a member of Unison and Unite as well.
Thank you very much. We will move on then to the minutes of the meeting held on the 11th of March 2024. Does anyone have any issues they want to raise with the meetings, or are we all happy for me to sign them off as a correct record? All happy? Lovely. Thank you very much. That moves us on to item 4 on the agenda, Trade Union Facilities Time, and I'd like to ask Natasha Edmonds, Director of Corporate Resources, to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Chair. So this report is the Trade Union and Facilities Time report for the year 2023-24. It is a statutory requirement to present this report to the committee and to publish it with our financial information. It describes the facilities time and the funding arrangements for the trade unions that we recognise. Those trade unions for our central function staff are Unison, Unite and GMB, and within our schools environment are Unison, Unite, GMB, NEU, NASUWT, ASCL, The Voice and NAHT. There is a range of analysis set out in tables on the report. Just to say that the way that the calculations have been undertaken are based on the statutory requirements and methodology that is prescribed for us. But I work on the basis that you've read the report, so I will pause there for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. Members, any questions? Comments, observations? Cal.
Thank you, Chair. Not necessarily directly on the report, because I think it's all fairly straightforward and I think stands out of any particular note, but I just wanted to, I guess, put on record and mention, as we've done before, some feedback that I've had recently on a kind of an ongoing basis from the local trade unions who work with the council and their members about a generally kind of very productive working relationship as it stands. Not always been the case kind of throughout history. But certainly in recent years, I think the trade unions and the council have both recognised that those kind of strong working relationships have been developed, which obviously is of benefit to trade unions and their members, the people who work and staff the council, but also the council itself in terms of being able to kind of manage services well and ensure that the public are able to access high quality public services when they need them. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of put that on record and give my thanks to everyone that's involved in that.
Yeah, fantastic, excellent sentiment. Thank you. Councillor Sanders.
Thanks, Chair. I mean, from the political administration side, I would echo what Cal has said. I think particularly from the pandemic onwards, things improved massively in terms of our overall relationships with the unions. And I think that's been really, really helpful. I think we find having a strong local union team is a real benefit across a whole range of things, rather than have people coming from outside, which occurs elsewhere. Because you've got people who work here, that's a major help, and that's why we've always been very sympathetic to Facilities Time as an administration, in fact, as a council as a whole. I think one of the interesting things going forwards is how we will work with trades unions on the various new things that are coming forwards from the government over the next 12 months as part of the King's Speech that will be implemented over the next few months. And I think I would suggest, Chair, that we actually encourage officers and our union colleagues to start work on how we handle those things, and then be open with each other about the impacts on that, several of which are excellent. Some I will see more go further, but such is life. But yeah, I think if there's work that's already happening on that, particularly with our trades union colleagues, that'll be great, rather than create a sense of it's being done to you, which I think just destroys the decent working relationships Cal has rightly talked about.
Yeah, very happy to. We're already undertaking work within HR to understand what some of those changes might be in terms of the employment framework, if you like, and engage in some of those discussions. I would say that our policy framework is quite progressive in Portsmouth, so some of the things that are being introduced by the government in the employment space are things that we already have in place. So things like the right to request flexible working, we already offer that as a day one right to our staff. So there are some things that we already do, other things that we will work constructively with in partnership with the unions to implement going forward. And we meet regularly with the unions and to progress those discussions, and we've got dates in the diary going forward throughout the summer and the next few months.
Councillor Sanders.
Thanks, Tasha. That's really helpful. I think once the relevant bill is published, or at some stage soon after the relevant bill is published, it would be very useful for a report to come back here to see, firstly, what we do already, secondly, what we need to do to achieve whatever is there, and we realise bills may get amended along the way, and thirdly, what other detail work we will have to do to try and implement it. I think being open about what we do will be really, really helpful going forwards.
Super. Thanks very much. Councillor Gerarda.
Just wanted to add some more positive comments, really, that it's been really positive to see that over the past years there has been an increase in trade union facility time and a restoration of that after it being cut sort of in previous times. So, yeah, just sort of gratitude for that. And I do check in with the trade union representatives, and often there's nothing really much to come back here to because, as we were saying before the meeting began, that there is such good relations already taking place that it just means that in these meetings there's no sort of surprises because these reps have also already been consulted and engaged. So, yeah, gratitude to Natasha and team.
Councillor Corkery.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, kind of fully endorse the idea of a report coming to this meeting about any legislative and national changes. I think that'd be really useful. Obviously, the council is a kind of major player in the local labour market in terms of directly employing staff, but also through its supply chain, as we've discussed many times, and its wider kind of influence on the city. So it could, yeah, be a good opportunity for us to look at what's happening and how we as a council can kind of support and influence that rollout across the city and the wider area.
Natasha, is that something we could have for the next meeting or the one after? What sort of timescale would that need?
I think we'd need to understand the timescale for when the bill might get published, but we can certainly bring an update to the September meeting to say that, you know, this is what we know, and then if there's still sort of, if the bill hasn't been passed at that point, then we can certainly outline the timeline that we're working to. So we can certainly bring a paper on what is known at that point.
Perfect, thank you. Members, are we happy, in addition to the two recommendations, which is to note the report and the data in Appendix A and the data in the annual reports, to also put on record our delight and pleasurable acknowledgement of the working relationship between the council and the trade unions? All happy? Lovely. That brings us, unless there are any further questions or comments, to the end of our agenda today.